2024. Since then, he has embarked on a mission fueled by a vision for a brighter future for Liberia. His arrest agenda for inclusive development highlights agriculture, roads, rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism.
You can't develop a country without roads. There's no way you can expose the opportunities you have without road, without reaching out. Today, you can leave from here, go to Lofa in 7 hours, which hasn't been the case for years. You can go to the southeast, and we want to see more and more of that happen because we have a lot of wealth that has been stolen from our country simply because we don't have access to the inner part of the country. People are going there in our bushes, taking our gold and diamond. We open up the country, we can arrest those situations and make it work for our people.
The president's leadership and vision for fostering collaboration across the three branches of government has been commendable. Through recent meetings, the branches are working as a unified force while respecting their distinct mandates.
One of the other things the president has tried to do has been to reach out and reunite, reconcile the country. And so we started with the three branches of government, the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive, coming together to just over dinner to discuss issues that affect coordination, because don't forget, these are three equal and coordinated branches of government. And without that coordinate element, a coordination element, there could be discord. And so we started with that.
The legislature's collaboration with the executive is critical to achieving real results for the country. As part of this effort, there is a shared commitment to working together with partners in the executive branch to ensure that transparency, accountability, and oversight are prioritized.
In the Senate, our crucial and most important role is the oversight responsibility, and that has been my focus. To be able to execute that role, you have to hold the executive accountable and ensure that there's transparency and accountability. You cannot do that as an institution if your institution is not transparent.
Hello everyone, welcome. This is the Executive Mansion and we're live on the grounds of the Capitol building. It's January 26th. As a matter of fact, it's the fourth working Monday in January, and constitutionally, President Joseph Boakai will at 4 o'clock this afternoon deliver his third annual message to the national legislature. Liberia as a country has three branches of government. We have the legislature, we have the executive, and the judiciary. So the president will on today address the joint section, that is to say, the House of Representatives and the Liberian Senate will converge on today as the Liberian leader will present his legislative agenda for the country. It will encompass what he intends for his government to do calling on the legislature, because these three branches cannot work in isolation. So they rely on one branch to make up. When the laws are then made, it requires one branch of government to ensure that these laws are interpreted. And when the laws are interpreted, we have another branch of government, the executive, that enforces the different laws that are being made by the legislature. So the president will come today deliver his annual message. And it's an interesting one because Liberians from all across the country, from the 15 counties, are following across our different platforms to ensure that they are part of this event, because you want to talk about the lawmakers, the representatives, the senators, they will be in their members. The associate justice and the chief justice and associate justices of the Supreme Court, they will all be in attendance. Member of the diplomatic corps and a host of international organizations. We have our friends from the U.S. Embassy, the United Nations, ECOWAS, MRU, the African Union, and the rest of the other international and regional organizations will all be in attendance. So far we've seen the arrival of high-profile guests from these different international organizations. So I will turn over to my colleague Lucia J. Topa for a continuation of the commentary. Good afternoon, Lucia.
Good afternoon, Ishmael, and thank you so much for that wonderful intro. Like my colleague rightly said, we are here on the grounds of the Capitol to witness the third section of His Excellency Joseph Nyuma Boakai Sr. to deliver his third annual message to the Liberian people. Well, this event is so colorful and interesting in a way that we have government officials. We also have the members of the Fourth Estate who are here to bring this important program live to the people out there to witness their president deliver his third annual message. We also have security apparatus here at the grounds of the Capitol to ensure that Liberians and high-profile dignitaries are all safe to witness this all-important occasion. We have the cultural troops. They are here to ensure that the Liberian people dance under their feet. We also have members of the judiciary. They are also arriving to ensure and also see that Liberia witness this all-important occasion. So Ishmael, do you want to tell us who do we expect to have? Because it's actually, we are between 2:30, 2:40, almost 3 o'clock. So do you want to tell us, as per the protocol that was given to us, who do we expect to arrive at 3 o'clock here at the grounds of the Capitol?
Yeah, you know, there are strict protocol that should be adhered to in terms of ushering in the different guests, the different VIPs, you know, so that the security here is very tight. Even for members of the Fourth Estate, that when you come here, you have to abide by all laid out protocols, because we don't want this to be violent, because this is the number one, you know, office in the country, the presidency. You know,
exactly.
So no one wants to ensure that there are different kinds of risks. So everyone that's coming in here are meant to, you know, be in strict adherence with laid out protocol. And this morning, interestingly, while the setting up was ongoing, we saw the presence of the Speaker, Regent Nagbeku, alongside the Deputy Speaker, Thomas Fala. And according to him, that over 60 lawmakers will be here today to give a resounding endorsement or resounding affirmation of the President's annual message. So that they tell the President, Mr. President, you are welcome on the grounds of the Capitol, because right at our back we have the executive mansion. So they have assured the President that they will come out in their numbers. So we expect a whole lot of different guests. We've been receiving the different ambassadors. We received the arrival of Liberia ambassador to Japan, Edward Way Appleton. We also received the current head of the Traditional Council of Liberia, Chief Boakai, is also here. And we've also seen the arrival of some government officials, you know, some cabinet ministers, head of state-owned enterprises, have started making their ways onto the grounds of the Capitol building. Because I like this thing. There's 1 minute after 4 o'clock, exactly 4 o'clock on the dot. The president will deliver his will take the protocol to deliver his annual message. And for that part, I like the way the different protocols have been laid out. We also saw the arrival of Liberia Ambassador Alash, the Ambassador Christopher Onanuka's head, he's also here. And a host of the different government officials, head of state-owned enterprises, they've started making their way into the hall. Also, we've seen the arrival of some international guests, some head of foreign nations, some foreign ambassadors, their ambassadors have already started to make their way into the venue. And you mentioned about the cultural troop. You know, this is one of the parts I really like.
Exactly, it's so interesting to watch the cultural troop perform. So Ishmael, we have Liberians out there, they are all glued to the radio to listen to our president deliver his third annual message to the Republic of Liberia. What do you expect that Liberians are actually, what do you think Liberians are actually expecting to hear from the president, what he has achieved within the past year to deliver to the Liberian people? So what do you expect? What do you think that Liberians are actually expecting from His Excellency?
There are a whole lot, because the government has a mantra, has an agenda that is called the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development. And interestingly, for the very first time, if I may be correct, in our most recent history for our existence as a country, each of the 15 counties, they have what they call their county development agenda. Aside from the national development agenda, each county, for example, Bon County, has its own national or has its own county development agenda, or might even the rest of the 15 counties, they have their separate development agenda. So what that tells us is that development is inclusive. It takes into consideration Liberians from all parts of the country. Talking about the aid that talks about agriculture. We want to talk about agricultural productivity. A few months ago, that was in last month, they were in Nyuma County for the National Agricultural Fair, where Liberians brought out their agricultural produce to showcase them. You had the potato, you had the Liberian cocoa, you had the cassava, you had the plantain, and you had the pig. You had the cattle and a different kind of livestock were all on exhibition at the National Agricultural Fair. You want to talk about roads, you know, the President Boakai has mentioned, you know, it's key to a national development, that whatever the government does, you cannot be able to develop to the people when the roads are not connected, when the roads are not paid. And we want to talk about rule of law, because when you can have the food to eat, you have the best of war. When people don't adhere to the rule of law, it becomes difficult, because what we make this law for is that they regulate the behavior of people in the society, so that people don't, go wayward, they won't go offhand, they won't go out of their bounds. People don't work within the confines of the law. You talk about education, it's very important.
Of course.
Because, like Nelson Mandela will normally say, that the number one weapon to teaching the world is education. So that when people's minds are transformed, their human resource capacity, so that they make informed decisions about the governance process of the country. We want to talk about tourism. Just a few days ago, we had the international streamer at show speed was into the country, and we saw how he showcased Liberia, a beautiful landscape. He was taken for the tour.
Okay, Ishmael, before we leave, let's talk about one more last thing. You call it? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how we come to this first part of this live broadcast here at the grounds of the Capitol. We would like to welcome another team of reporters or journalists who will come and interview people here at the grounds of the Capitol.
Okay, folks, so welcome. That was a wonderful presentation there by the team. And, we are having in guests. They are already making their way in, but we have this person who would like to talk to on our camera. Hello and welcome.
Thank you.
So, you could...
Thank you. My name is Kopa Pasu. I'm the Assistant Minister of Administration at the Ministry of National.
Okay, so sir, you are here today to witness this historic event. Tell us, what are you expecting?
Thank you. I think the expectation from the public is the president is going to be overview of the activities for the past year. He's going to be playing for this year we are in. He's going to tell us what some of those things going to do to develop the country, because recently we just heard the infrastructure program in Kanta City. communicate that government is going to prepare on building infrastructure because everywhere around the world we go, we see skyscrapers in other countries. We want to replicate the scene in this country. So tomorrow we'll use Liberia as a home. We're not going to go around there bragging about Ghana, bragging about Nigeria. Liberia is going to also be bragging about other foreign national countries. We see some of those activities there.
Okay, so
apart from that, what exactly can you point to that since President Boakai is in session of his administration? What exactly that we are very that we can point out to the improvement in the education sector, the health sector that we can actually point out to. So why exactly they have set this administration apart from other administrations?
So thank you. Years ago, we were finding it very difficult for the Southeast. But I can safely tell you, those from Maryland, Sando, Benku, they can take a day to go to their home country and come out the next day. Sometimes people are using goods and services in other places. They can leave from to Morocco, do transaction and too much.
the BSA should be engaging the guests to bring them.
You can imagine the difference that some of those things we promised in Liberian people, we practically implement for them. So as we speak, the president is going to give a promise to Liberian people that we will see what the year that we go for. Before the next sooner, you're going to see some of those, or maybe we may come to fruition.
Okay, so you mentioned, promises that were, made by His Excellency. You care to mention, be specific as to what exactly are some of those promises that was made during, some of his messages.
So the president did say to us that he's going to fight drugs. You and I know that the drugs activities are reduced in the country. People have been prosecuted for breaking in drugs in the country. Moreover, the president did say to us that he's going to bury the former leaders, those that sacrificed and those programs were implicated under the field. So every promise the president made to the people, he proud. One way or another, in order to make it demonstrated, in order for people to know that whatsoever the president say, he mean well for the Liberian people. So as I show you today, whatsoever information that comes from the president is a policy statement, and we, the lieutenants, going to implement those programs in order to make things real for us.
Thank you, Chief. Your name again?
My name is Koba Passy. I serve as Assistant Minister of Administration at the Ministry of Finance and Energy.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, folks, you just listened to Assistant Minister Cooper passed away, giving light as it relates to today's SONA, what exactly his expectations are. According to him, His Excellency, the President of Liberia, he has done tremendously well. He has worked with institutions, promises that were made, he have worked towards some of them. As he mentioned, he talked about the reburial of past leaders. We witnessed that occasion that melted many Liberians as it relates to honoring folks who have worked. But let's listen to, my colleague as he contributes to what the Assistant Minister had to say.
Like, obviously, since the inception of the new republic and when this constitution came into being, the state of nation of Israel was first enabled in January 1980.
Welcome, Chief. Welcome, Chief.
Yes.
So we have the EPA boss. He's here, so at least grace our camera. Thank you for coming, Chief.
Welcome to the executive matter.
Very nice to meet with you. Yes, nice to meet with you.
Okay, so we are here today to witness His Excellency President Boakai as he delivers his third annual message. A lot of Liberians, they are listening. The expectation remains high. Tell us, what do you expect from His Excellency Sona?
I think last year, July 26th celebration was celebrated all over the world. That same momentum is still building up. And today we expect that momentum among Liberia, both home and abroad, to continue. And that momentum is at the EPA as I speak to you.
So my colleague will continue from there.
What exactly, since the inception of President Boakai administration and you have been the PPO, what exactly have been featured that we the administration?
We talk about the lab. EPA now has state-of-the-art laboratory. They have equipment, and one single equipment costs 100,000 euros. State of the art, that is all this administration. EPA moving environment, but also coming in families of compliance. This is actually one of this administration. This is something we are very proud of.
Right. So it was nice having you and
So,
Nice, thank you. Thank you very much.
so before we take leave of you, okay, so that's it, folks. You just listen to the EPA bus.
you just listened to the PS boss who just provided us.
So we
We have Rick's backyard.
So just talk to us. Just talk to us. Just talk to us more. Let's just have you. The camera is already posted with you. So we have
For the next year, that's very important and essential. And if we have one of the achievements that the government has had, and again, interestingly, we have who is from Karen, we have been right there with us. Ambassador, you are welcome to us.
Thank you, buddy. How you dress? My understanding, the media people got a lot of money, though.
And not really, but most likely.
Okay. So what's up? How you guys doing today?
Great welcome to the Executive Mansion Press Corps, and we have actually what we expect from President Joseph Nyuma Senior today, and what have been the challenges and the achievements. So can you walk us through from your angle?
Yeah, from that angle, I can tell you clearly that some of the implementations we've already done in terms of productivity on basic of our platform, the rescues platform. It was the president talking about rural connection. So the rural connectivity was to impact the economy. The rural connectivity was to build a whole agriculture hub. The rural connectivity was to make sure that the energy sector of our country be very elaborate to connect the different houses, the households, so that energy and electricity, so that people can have a real life in terms of even the water, in terms of even engagement, the education, and there's a whole lot of other things. But most of the important ones that I picked up and the president has implemented to the core is the road network.
Right. So what exactly are you expecting from President Boakai today in the state of Liberia?
No, I don't want to predict the president. President Boakai is somebody who believes in himself and nobody sees his speeches so easily. So I don't want to preempt what he's going to say. But one thing I know is he's going to speak on the issue of the bread and butter. Liberians have been talking about that in round time. Of this country.
So creating for previous administration, what set President Boakai apart from the previous?
Oh, we far apart. In a 0 to 10, we already 8, and then they're going to be far down to 4.
So
we far apart.
Before we take leave of you, you mentioned that His Excellency, the President, he has tackled the bread and butter issue. You care to just throw light on that a little bit? You have Liberians that are watching. They want to understand. If you say the President,
the thing is, the few of the people in the opposition misinterpret the issue of bread and butter. The issue of bread and butter is misinterpreted because people think it is about cooking a pan butter and cooking a jollof rice. The bread and butter issue that we exemplify on, make a big alarm on, is to make sure that we have a good security system in our country. We're going to make sure that the road networks are good. We're going to make sure we take our people from stage 1 to stage 2. We're going to make sure that the energy sector can impact and bring in more companies and make a life that our people can benefit totally. That's why we call the bread and butter issue. But if we misinterpret like issue cooking pan butter rice today and cooking a jollof rice today, it is so important. But if you don't work, you cannot generate the revenue that will make you impact the lives of the people, your children going to school, and making sure that you get the things that you're supposed to do.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you. It is good talking to you.
I think you are great having you.
So, folks, you just listen to him throwing light as it relates to his
putting your hands in your pocket, and when you're speaking, we're not hearing you. So you gotta be a little bit.
If you're just joining us, we are coming to you live from the Capitol building as today marks a wonderful event here in Monrovia, Liberia's capital. His Excellency, the President of Liberia, will shortly address the nation as it relates to the government working. You know, it is constituted that every fourth working Monday, annually, His Excellency, the President, should address the nation to give progress as it relates to what the government have achieved, what are challenges the government is faced with, and where the country stands at the moment. We have interviewed a lot of folks. We've gave you a little history as it relates to. Just to go back, we have the former president and this president, Samuel Kayando, who was the first president to deliver the State of the Nation address. And to this date, it is something that is constitutional.
Democracy.
That is no more than done to have the president informing the nation.
In the country history, that the president will leave the legislature at this time to deliver his annual message in of the legislative priorities. What you want, lawmaking, representation, oversight, because that squarely lies in the purview of the lawmakers.
Definitely.
So yes, to omit them. I see this so that they be able to look into them because we are separate but coordinated branches. That means one branch does not work in isolation.
Yeah.
All of them need to coordinate so that they have a government. That's why I talk about government. It's a group of people responsible to make law, they interpret law, and they enforce law of state. So that's how.
If you listen to the president, he have a government, the arrest agenda for inclusive development. So there is no way the government works in isolation.
Exactly.
You know, leaving out another branch of government. There are common Liberians who have been included in the work they do. So this is Liberia. This is a country that His Excellency, the President, he's fighting to bring back to the international stage. A lot has been experienced.
Exactly.
You know, President Boakai, he's been working. Liberia just resumed a seat at the United Nations Security Council, where they will have to represent, to talk in international issues.
A lot in this country. The Liberians are mustered the courage to re-image this country so that throughout the world that Liberia has a lot of untapped potential in terms of tourism, in terms of our investment climate, very friendly. Like the president would normally say, Liberia is one of the few countries in Africa that people would normally change money in the street with. And one temporary, that speaks to the level of security we enjoy as a nation. Why is it to a woman say, oh, the bread and butter issues, say really a challenge, but on the overall, there are laudable things that Liberian can point out. Last evening, I somewhere around 11, I reached one safely without any interruption, no disturbance. That speaks to the level of security the country is, so that Liberians should be proud of that their country is making tremendous progress. It's very important that these things, are done. And it's important that Liberians start to see it from a whole different perspective of country.
Okay, let's just take it out of that. You've seen the atmosphere. You've seen how Liberians are excited for this annual message. Just just imagine. How do you think they are at this moment? You have Liberians in the diaspora. They are optimistic. We have one of our guests there. Shortly, he said he don't want to take the cat out of the bag.
Exactly.
He just don't want to predict what His Excellency the President will say, because honestly, he's been doing a lot. A lot has happened. So he will not predict what the president will say, but he's here to listen
Exactly.
to what the president has to present to the Liberian people, those in the diaspora who believe in this administration and their workings. They are all tuned to their radio, they are tuned to their devices to listen to His Excellency President Boakai.
Yeah, and interestingly, we then followed all across this country. Our colleague, Botolu Mwangolo, have informed us that all of the 14 radio stations in Lofa County are relaying this program, this annual message. That speaks on the level of visibility that Liberians from all parts of this country can form a part of it. That is it's clear that if you don't have invitation, don't come here, because the attendance here is been strictly on the basis of invitation. So if you don't have invitation, you don't have to come here. It should be strictly adhered to, because all of these security protocols will be strictly adhered to.
We are seeing what he has to tell them. You are here. What's the expectation?
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Protocol persons, kindly clear the aisle. Deputy Chiefs of Protocol, Protocol Officers, kindly clear the aisle. At this time, we'd like to recognize the presence of the former President of the Republic of Liberia, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Excellencies, officials of government,
Majority of the dignitaries that are arriving here will always tell you that let's listen to what the president has to say. We can't be the one to speak. So we should give him the chance, let him have his moment to address the nation, what his government has achieved. And you make reference to the national council meetings, having them together. That's why there are political differences, and that shows unity as a nation. It's togetherness. President Boakai talked about inclusiveness, and that's exactly what the country is experiencing.
Exactly, and that's the significance of national council there, because the last time I saw Representative Musa Ability and the managing director of the LPRC, Amos, the two of them, they were into a friendly consultation, so that one time people wobble somehow in terms of their diversion of views. But the two of them on that day, they were in a very wonderful mood, so that one could not instead, speak to that was the LPRC MD and the District 7 Representative Musa. Both of them very critical.
We have more guests. How are you? No, we just want to. It was unfortunate we couldn't get him. Listen to him. That center of his home. Here back, they just have to work. However, we are optimistic to have them here to give us their perspective
question. So it's a wonderful way. We take this break to be back in a very short while. Thank you.
No, no, go, come.
Every day.
What you be doing there? If you're still going to be on camera, why you calling him? Because you've been on the camera, man.
Funny, what do you mean? Not Sergio been on camera.
Sergio is like correct person.
Funny.
Yeah.
Give me that cable, give me first, but I long. Give me the office.
Hey, they come, please.
No. I'm gonna look at it.
Madam former President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce the arrival of the Excellencies, the daughter and members of the Diplomatic Corps. Madam former President, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce the arrival of the Dean and members of the Cabinet.
Justice and the associate justice.
1 2 1 2. So this is okay. 1 2 1 2.
As you can see, the Chief Justice and the Associate Justices of the
Okay, folks. So thank you for. So we had a little break, but we're back now. Thank you. And we just received signal of having the Chief Justice and the Associate Justices. They are already in. And the atmosphere here is charged. You have lawmakers who are pretty seated. You have well wishers.
Announce the arrival of His Honor the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. All present, please rise.
So you just listen. The Chief Justice and Associate Justices, they have just arrived, and you have
Excellency, distinguished guests, I am pleased to announce the arrival of the Speaker and members of the House of Representatives. All present, please rise.
the Speaker of the 55th Legislature. They've already, making their way in. The Chief of Protocol of the Republic of Liberia just announced the arrival of the Speaker, Speaker Rachel Kuhn, along with the Deputy Speaker.
The speaker is also here. He just arrived, so he's along with all of members of the House of Representatives. They are here, and remember now that this is going to be a joint section of the legislature, and we will also have the Senate Pro Tem coming in without interact of senators. So we look forward to that as well. He has been escorted to his seat. The Speaker, Honorable J. Nyuma has been escorted to his seat. He's currently seated. From the look of things, we are not too far from the main purpose of this event. The representatives have already come in. They are trying to get seated. So once they are seated, when this session is called to order, and the next we will have is the president coming in after the session has been called to order. So remember now, this is the 4th joint section of the 55th National Legislature, before which President Joseph Nyuma Boakai is expected shortly to give the State of the Nation address. The Speaker is all smart.
Well, folks, we received a signal of another VIP who is arriving here, but we are trying to capture who exactly owns the vehicle. But however, we'd like to say thank you and welcome. We are currently here live on the grounds of the Capitol, as today marks a wonderful or historical event where second lady of the Republic of Liberia. She's here, and we are receiving signal of having His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Liberia, to arrive shortly. Government officials, they are pretty seated. We just got informed that we have the Speaker of Legislature, Speaker Rachel Kumo, along with the Deputy Speaker and other members of the Legislature. Folks, the atmosphere here is charged with excitement, expectations, and a lot. You have Liberians in the diaspora, Liberians from home, they are watching as it relates to what President Boakai has to deliver, what he has to tell the Liberian people as what the government have achieved, what are challenges the government has been faced with, and where the country stands at the moment. So we'd like to say thank you. This has
Please clear the aisle. Please clear the aisle.
we have the senators. They are making their way in. They are being urged to their seats. They are being ushered to their seats. The senators.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce the arrival of the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia
Vice President of
and
the
members of the
Liberia,
Senate.
Honorable Jeremiah Kwankun.
All present,
Along
please
with
rise.
members from the Senate, they are opposed to be ushered to their seats. So, as per this year's protocol, the ushering of guests to the President's annual message is started at exactly 2:30, and it will be ending at 3:50 p.m. At 2:50, we receive members of the Council of Corps, as announced by the Chief of Protocol, Republic of Liberia. At 2:55, the Chief of Protocol, Republic of Liberia, also announced the arrival of heads of international organizations. At 3 p.m., the Chief of Protocol also announced the arrival of their Excellencies, the Doi and members of the Diplomatic Corps. At 3:05, the Chief of Protocol announced the arrival of the Dean and members of the Cabinet. And after that, we also witnessed the arrival of former heads of state and former vice president. At 3:15, the Chief of Protocol announced the arrival of His Honor, the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia. At 3:20, we also witnessed the arrival of the Speaker and members of the House of Representatives. At 3:25, the arrival of the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, the President of the Senate and members of the Senate.
Thank you. You may have your seats.
Which we also just, announced to those who are watching. And we currently have 3:34. Just a few minutes from now, we'll have President Boakai addressing the nation as we all anticipate to listen to what he has to tell the Liberian people, what he has to deliver, what his government has achieved, what the government has also been challenged with, and where the country stands at the moment. It is a colorful, it is a wonderful event. The cultural troop, they are represented here fully. Liberians are here, well-wishers, they are all here to grace this wonderful occasion as it has become a tradition. It is constitutional that the president of every the fourth working Monday of every year to address the nation as the progress that has been made. Article 86 of the 1986 Constitution, it mandates the president to address the nation as we formally call the SONA, the State of the Nation Address, and to present what the government has achieved. So we want to say thank you as the guests continue to make their way through. We will also bring you up to speed as it relates to those arriving as well.
So any moment from now, the President, His Excellency Joseph Mamkwaka Senior, will come in. Meanwhile, the the both segment of the house of the both segment of the legislature have already been seated, and it's just about a few moments from now, of minutes. Uh, the sergeant at arm will call this hall to sections, and then the speaker will then preside over the joint section of the legislature, after which President Joseph Mamkwaka Sr. will be invited to deliver the State of Nation address. So that is just a few moments away. From what we are seeing, it's very colorful event, and you have cultural drum being played, you have jazz, instruments of jazz are being played here, flutes, and people are dancing, and you have a lot of happening right now here on the grounds of the capital. Uh, so stay with us as we draw you to while the lawmakers are getting ready. They are having some discussions amongst themselves. Our sound of preparation. A few minutes from now, this session will be called to order. It's a reminder that you are tuning, watching from the executive mansion via their various Facebook highlight, social media highlight, their Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And we encourage you to remain tuned. So we
No, no, no. One hour camera.
Yeah, off it. I'm off it. Yeah, me off it.
Good afternoon, Honorable Richard Nangbeku, Speaker of the 55th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Honorable Jeremiah Kpankun, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia and President of the Liberian Senate, Honorable Nyuma Kanga Lawrence, Senate Pro Tempore of the Liberian Senate, Honorable Thomas P. Fala, Deputy Speaker of the 55th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia, my distinguished honorable members of the 55th Legislature, I have the honor at this time to announce to you the third zona of the 4th Joint Section of the Honorable House of Representatives and that of the 55th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia. Honorable Speaker, and now therefore, this 4th Joint Section is hereby called to order and is hereby so ordered.
Hello, thank you. Distinguished and esteemed honorable members of the 55th Legislature, in fulfillment of Article 58 of the Liberian Constitution, we have gathered here today and at this hour for the sole purpose of receiving the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Nyuma Boakai Sr., to deliver his State of the Nation address. As presiding, I will now entertain a motion for the 55th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia to resolve into a joint legislative section for the sole purpose of executing the responsibility of His Excellency Honorable Joseph Nyuma Boakai. I will now recognize the Right Honorable Nyan Flomo of Electoral District Number 2, Nyuma County, to put forth the motion.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Vice President, Honorable Pro Tem, Honorable Deputy Speaker, our distinguished colleagues of the 55th Liberia Legislature, I, Honorable Nyan G. Flomo of Nyuma County Electoral District 2, move, if I can obtain a second, that the legislature convene in a joint session for the sole and singular purpose of receiving the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Nyuma Boakai Sr., to deliver the State of the Nation address in keeping with Article 58 of the Liberian Constitution.
Thank you. And this motion will be acknowledged and seconded by the Right Honorable Senator Boto Cannon of Babalu County.
I, Boto Cannon, Senator of Babalu County, do hereby second the motion.
Distinguished honorable members, without restating the motion, are you all ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion, make it known by saying yea. Those against the motion, make it known by saying nay. All those abstain, please make it known by raising your right hand. The yea has it, with the motion to convene in a joint legislative section, put and carry, the legislature now convene in a joint legislative section for the sole purpose of receiving the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Nyuma Boakai Sr., to deliver his State of the Nation address, and is hereby so ordered. We now call on the Chief Clerk of the House of Representatives to inform us whether we have the legitimate quorum to transact business for today.
Honorable Richard Namwekon, Speaker of the House of Representatives and presiding officer of this joint legislative section, His Excellency Jeremiah Kpankon, President of the Republic, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, and President of the Liberian Senate, Senator Nyomli Kanka Lawrence, President pro tempore of the Liberian Senate, Honorable Thomas P. Falla, Deputy Speaker, Honorable House of Representatives, Honorable ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to announce from the records of the Secretary of the Senate and that of mine that there is a quorum for the transaction of this joint legislative section solely intended to receive His Excellency Joseph Nyuma Boakai Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia, to deliver to the Liberian people his State of the Nation address. I so submit.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, It has been established by the report from the Honorable Chief Clerk that this august body has the quorum for the transaction of business today. We now ask the member of the Joint Committee on Executive of the Legislature, along with the Sergeant at Arms, to proceed at the front of the Capitol building to receive and escort the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Nyuma Boakai Sr., to the legislative body. So members of the Joint Committee on Executive, along with the Sergeant at Arms, please proceed to escort His Excellency, the President, before this body.
That's one.
Hello.
2, 1, 2.
Gogoliago, we. Madama Zobono, Dama Zobono, we. Madama Zobono, Madama Mazawa, we.
Distinguished honorable ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased at this time to announce to you the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Nyuma Boakai, Sr. Thank you.
Son. Yeah, huh?
Yeah.
Huh? Do you tell him to sit down? Or?
Yeah, you can tell him to sit.
Good evening, please have your seats. Mr. Vice President, Madam First Lady, Mr. Speaker, members of the House of Representatives, Madam Pro Tem, members of the Senate, the Chief Justice, Associate Justices, members of the Judiciary, Madam Dean and members of the Cabinet, Mr. Doyen, members of the Diplomatic Corps, former presidents here, former officials of government present, heads and officials of political parties, prelates, members of the religious organization, our international local partners, our traditional leaders, chiefs and elders of the land, fellow Liberians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Our deep gratitude is to God Almighty, the sustainer and preserver of our nation, for his enduring grace and blessings over the past year and throughout history. We are gathered here in fulfillment of Article 58 of the Liberian Constitution, which requires the President to present an annual message on the state of the Republic, the condition of the economy, and the legislative agenda for the year ahead. This annual message reviews our progress in the second year of this administration and sets forth the priorities in 2026. It reflects our commitment to reform, accountability, and results that improve the life of the Liberian people. Mr. Speaker and honorable members of the legislature, we are painfully reminded again of the last year's arson attack on the Capitol building. This attack on our symbol of democracy has forced us for the second year to meet in this courtyard instead of the historic chamber. The legal process to bring those responsible for this heinous act is still going on. I, however, assure every Liberian that my administration is pursuing this matter with resolve and impartiality, and that anyone found guilty will bear the full weight of the law. I use this time to remind those driven by narrow personal interest that this country is moving forward, not backward. As Winston Churchill once observed, and I quote, "Never yield to the power of the adversary if it contradicts honor." In that spirit, our democracy will not be intimidated, our institutions will not diminish, our commitment to the rule of law and constitutional government remains unshaken, and the process we continue to make will not be thwarted. Honorable members of the legislature, over the past 2 years, my administration worked to tackle inherited challenges, stabilize the economy, and deliver key development milestones. Despite limited resources, we made progress across key sectors, including agriculture, infrastructure, education, health, tourism, and the rule of law, alongside important legislative initiatives. I am pleased to inform you that our country is in a better state than it was a year ago, and the progress of the past 2 years is real. Looking ahead, we will continue implementing the arrest agenda to improve livelihoods, strengthen democratic governance, and enhance Liberia's standing in the world. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam President Pro Tempore of the Senate, members of the legislature, through collaboration and prompt passage of priority legislation, the government aims to strengthen institutions, grow the economy, and improve the well-being of all Liberians. Over the course of the last year, the executive submitted several bills to you for enactment into law. I thank the members of the body for your service and collaboration in passing several crucial bills during the second session of this legislature. Key among those passed and signed into law are the Ministry of Local Government Act to decentralize the government and allow greater participation in decision-making at a local level. The Liberia National Tourism Act to stimulate economic growth by leveraging the nation's natural attractions and cultural heritage, and an act to establish the National Food Assistance Agency, and 9 financing agreements between Liberia and our bilateral and multilateral development partners. While the passage of these laws is commendable, urgent attention must now focus on advancing the pending legislations. Key among these are the Presidential Transaction Act to establish procedures for the transition from one elected government to the next. Our experience shows the need for these procedures to avoid arbitrary practices and conflicting expectations during periods of transition. Also, pending before you are the bills to establish Civil Service Commission and the third amendment to the Mineral Development Agreement with ArcelorMittal Holdings, among others. Delays in passing these measures will weaken the reforms needed for economic growth and institutional integrity. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, I have also submitted for amendment to existing anti-corruption laws, including legislation to address illicit enrichment and to remove the existing statute of limitation on corruption cases. In 2026, we will submit additional priority bills, including legislation to establish the National Planning Commission to strengthen development planning and budgeting, and a specialized code for property dispute to reduce the backlog of land cases. We will propose a universal health insurance program and a bill to establish National Road Authority dedicated to road construction and maintenance. We will also submit the revised charter of the University of Liberia to accommodate needed reforms and administrative structures. We will expand Liberia's Agriculture Commodity Regulatory Authority's mandate to enhance output, processing, marketing of quality agricultural commodities. We will also seek an amendment to the executive law to restructure the Ministry of Foreign Affairs so it can better serve citizens and adapt to our evolving international responsibilities. Finally, we will submit bills to repeal outdated People's Redemption Council era decrees that created public institutions that no longer serve today's governance needs. Beyond legislation, my administration issued 16 executive orders to advance governance, economic, social priorities in line with the national development goals. Each action, whether by law or order, was taken for one purpose, the benefit of the Liberian people. We remain dedicated to fostering cooperation among all branches of government through mutual respect, open dialogue, as the Constitution requires. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tem, members of the legislature, fellow Liberians. Last year, we emphasized the economic challenges inherited by this administration, not as an excuse, but to highlight the hurdles faced and the progress achieved. Through disciplined fiscal management, sound policies, and robust partnerships, we began restoring stability and trust. As of 2024, the economy showed resilience with steady growth, declining inflation, stronger reserves, and renewed momentum across key sectors. This progress continued in 2025 with macroeconomic stability and private sector growth, strengthening our commitment to the Liberian people. We are proud to announce that the economy grew by 5.1% in 2025. This exceeds both the 4.6% forecast and the 4.0% growth recorded in 2024. This achievement was driven by significant gains in mining, agriculture, fisheries, and services. Mining expanded by 17% and export rose by 31.5%. Looking ahead, ongoing reforms and infrastructure investment are expected to boost growth to over 5% in 2026, with average growth projected at about 6% from 2026 to 2028. Inflation fell to 4% by December 2025, the lowest in 2 decades, down from 10% when we took over in 2024. These achievements signal effective monetary and fiscal policies coupled with anticipated ease in import costs. Liberia's external sector performed well in 2025. Gross international reserve increased from $475 million in 2024 to $576 million, surpassing the previous year by $101 million. Also, net international reserve exceeded IMF target, potentially reaching $280 million by December 2025, and export grew over 31% to about $2.1 billion. Our medium-term strategic and gold initiative, or gold purchase program, is expected to further strengthen reserve, enhancing economic resilience. We are proud to report that we met nearly all IMF performance criteria in June 2025, reaffirming our commitment. The IMF external credit facility remains crucial for rebuilding reserves to cover 3.3 months of import by 2027 supported by prudent fiscal measures. Foreign investment in iron ore mining will also boost exports in the current account. Since September 2025, the foreign exchange market has been stable due to good liquidity management, fiscal discipline, and strong export earnings. The Liberian dollar appreciated by at least 3% against the US dollar. We are committed to maintaining currency confidence and stability. To promote financial inclusion, we accelerated Liberia's digital finance revolution, processing over 275,000 transactions, valued at more than 375 million Liberian dollars, or at 2.7 million by December 2025. Our goal is to raise financial inclusion from 52% in 2024 to 70% by 2029. The central bank is rebuilding public trust by strengthening governance and accountability and managing government securities more openly. In 2025, it issued $44.4 million US dollars, rolling over 132.1 million, and 7.6 billion Liberian dollars. And for the first time in decades, the bank recorded consecutive operational surpluses in 2024 and 2025. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the House of Legislature, despite real achievements in 2025, our development program faced one of the toughest tests. An abrupt slash in the donor support during the second quarter disrupted finance for essential social and economic projects. This led to job losses, reduced incomes, and hardship for many families. This government stepped up to it to close funding gaps and keep critical services running, but the disruption slowed implementation and stained our plans. Notwithstanding these challenges, we are pleased to report that we weathered the storm by instituting a package of measures that included tighter fiscal control, critical protecting social expenditure in health and education, and significantly enhancing domestic resources mobilization efforts. Reaffirmed commitment from donor partners for 2025 amounted to $381 million, including $63 million in direct budget support and $321.5 million for programs and projects. During the year under review, the government concluded 9 financing agreements totaling $334.98 million, including $98.58 million concessional loans and $236.4 million in grants to advance national priorities. These agreements supported investment in infrastructure, human capital development, and natural resource management. Mr. Speaker and honorable members of the House of Representatives and members of the Legislature, I informed you last year that our engagement with the United States has positioned Liberia for the Millennium Challenge Cooperation Compact. I am pleased to report that after a review and reassessment by the new U.S. government, Liberia's eligibility for a second MCC compact was reaffirmed in December 2025. The company development process has begun, focusing on investment in energy and job creation. We extend profound appreciation to our bilateral and multilateral partners, including the United States of America, the European Union, People's Republic of China, the United Kingdom, Japan, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Morocco, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, African Development Bank, the United Nations and its agencies, the African Union and the Economic Community of West African States, and the Mana River Union for their trust, support, and ongoing commitment to Liberia as we strive to restore stability and bring essential relief and opportunities to our people. Last year's external funding cut was a wake-up call. It exposed how vulnerable we become in the race to our security when we rely too much on external support. In my annual message last year, I pledged to strengthen domestic revenue by aligning reforms with regional benchmarks, improving tax compliance, and investing in digital systems, including a modern customs inspection center at the Freeport of Monrovia. We have made real progress on these commitments, and the results are clear. Liberia can finance more than its own development if we put the right policies in place and collect what is due. For fiscal year 2025, we approved a national budget of $880.5 million, funded largely by $804.6 million in domestic revenue. By year end, total revenue reached $885.8 million, exceeding the target by $5.1 million. $847.7 million, surpassing the target by $43.1 million, the highest ever recorded in Liberia. That is an increase of $148 million over 2024, the largest single year gain in our nation's history. Last year, we submitted and you approved a budget of more than $1.2 billion for fiscal year 2026, representing the highest budget in the history of our country. Over the past 2 years, domestic revenue has risen by $235.7 million. This reflects stronger policy choices, improved administration, digitization, and better compliance. I commend the Liberia Revenue Authority and all partner institutions for their professionalism, and I call on the legislature to work with us to sustain these gains and direct every dollar towards results that improve the lives of the Liberian people. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, I am pleased to report that on account of the robust revenue performance for 2025, the fiscal authorities are concluding processes that will lead to submission of a supplemental budget to the legislature next month, the first in many years. As of the end of November 2025, government spending totaled $709.7 million, including both recurrent and capital spending. Spending on roads accounted for a major share of our capital expenditure. Public debt stood at $2.8 billion, as at the end of December 2025. Domestic debt mainly owed to the central bank and commercial bank was 1.2 billion. External debt, largely to the World Bank and to the African Development Bank, was 1.6 billion. Despite fiscal pressures, the government remained largely current on its debt commitments, paying 120.1 million in debt service to both domestic and external creditors in 2025. We will continue prudent debt management and fiscal discipline. To strengthen the economy and address fiscal constraints, my administration has introduced major financial management reform to boost revenue, enacted the tax expenditure bill, tightened exemption controls, and are preparing to implement a value-added tax system by 2027. To support fiscal year 2026 1.2 billion budget, we will expand the tax base by cracking down on evasion, updating tax rules, raising the goods tax by a modest 1%, and revising excise taxes. The government has strategically leveraged opportunities to attract credible investment and responsibly exploit natural resources for the benefit of Liberians. In 2025, the government signed key agreements to boost economic growth, infrastructure, and employment, including concession and access agreement with the Ivanhoe for the Yekepa-Bukena Rail Corridor, and amended deal with ArcelorMittal Liberia. Together, these represent approximately 4 billion in committed investments. The government has commenced the process of reactivating the Puto iron ore mine. That will boost job creation and accelerate development in Grand Direct County and the southeastern region. In the hydrocarbon sector, the government signed 8 new petroleum agreements, 4 with Total Energies and 4 with Ranto Petroleum. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, despite ongoing global supply pressure, our actions have helped lower the cost of essential goods. Prices have eased for rice, flour, and fuel, relief that families can feel in their daily lives. For instance, 25 kilogram bag of Indian parboiled rice now retails at $14.50. And flowers are dropped from 35 to 35 US dollars per 100-pound bag. Fuel has stabilized at $4 per gallon, helping to reduce transport costs. We strengthened supply and quality by completing a 17,000 cubic meter fuel storage tank and a modern testing laboratory at the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company, thereby improving storage capacity, fuel standards, and national energy security. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I commend the Vice President and the Price Committee for acting to prevent unjustified price increases that harm our people. Let me be clear. Business that exploits consumers will be held accountable. Job creation remains a top priority for my administration. Our job creation strategy has focused on addressing the binding and structural constraints to growth, including investment in roads, energy. In this connection, we have created more than 70,000 short and medium-term jobs across the infrastructure, agriculture, social protection, and small businesses, among other sectors. Going forward, the Youth Entrepreneurship and Investment Bank project launched in 2025 will support 30,000 youth-led businesses, creating over 120,000 direct and indirect jobs for the youth. The National Employment Acceleration Strategy focused on agriculture, public works, skill training, and support to small enterprises has been finalized. This will facilitate more Liberians to earn decent livelihood with dignity. Honorable members of the legislature, on January 15, 2025, the Liberian government launched the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development 2025 to 2029 and the 15th County Development Agenda in Buchanan-Grand-Bassa County. These initiatives reaffirm the country's commitment to Vision 2030, focusing on delivering measurable results through decisive implementations. The current budget allocates $290 million for capital investment in public sector investment projects, making this one of the largest recent government programs. The Arrest Agenda aims to diversify Liberia's economy beyond extraction and boost productivity through more than 370 interventions across sectors like agriculture, infrastructure, energy, tourism, governance, education, health, and sanitation, targeting annual growth above 5%. The broader goal will include raising GDP per capita above $1,050 by 2029, reducing the trade deficit and lowering poverty risk. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Temperature, and members of the legislature, I am pleased to report today that we have made substantial progress across key sectors, including agriculture, the heart of the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, and the driver of job creation, food security, and growth. In 2025, over 198,000 farmers received government support, leading to expanded rice and cocoa cultivation and increased agriculture output. Infrastructure improvement, including the completion of 166 kilometers of feeder road, have reduced transport costs and enhanced market access, resulting in 33,755 Liberians moving from food insecurity to food security. In 2026, we will prioritize agribusiness, scaling rice production, expanding mechanization, operationalizing the One County, One Priority Commodity Program, and improving sector financing through new banking legislation. Additionally, the introduction of Liberia first fiberglass semi-industrial fishing vessel, the Sea King, marks a milestone in boosting domestic fish production and food security. The government encourages private sector investor engagement to drive inclusive agriculture growth. Mr. Speaker and members of the legislature, nearly 3 years ago, I assured the nation that roads will be our focus, not as a slogan, but rather a commitment to connecting communities with opportunities. In furtherance of our commitment, we focus on restoring key corridors and expanding secondary roads. We increased Liberia's paved roads from under 12% to 20%, and maintain more than 780 kilometers of major roads, ensuring year-round access. Connectivity improved between Burraville and Buffalo, Salaye and Medicoma, Tapita and Zedru, as well as Buchanan and Greenville, reducing costs and easing hardship for citizens. Key roads like Ganta, Sakripe now 56%, Sakripe Tapita up to 92% have advanced, while Kilipo Fishtown route is now fully paved. Additional projects, including the Buchanan Greenway Highway, are in the pipeline, thanks to partner support from African Development Bank, World Bank, and others. Efforts will be made to Vahu more accessible to the rest of the country via road. The Army Corps of Engineers will play a role in delivering this initiative. In our ongoing commitment to maintain road access for our citizens, I am pleased to announce that the widely discussed 285 yellow machines procured by government last year are currently being shipped. These assets will be situated at the county hubs and used to support road maintenance efforts and form crucial part of our disaster response preparedness efforts across the country. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, fellow Liberians, we continue to make progress in connecting county capitals and major assets. Although the RIA Road Corridor project faced delays due to ongoing orders and challenges and changes in scope, we are still able to increase the length of the pavement from 20 to 25. With the orders and rescoping nearing completion, full work on this corridor is expected to resume in 2026. The Private Port Concession Agreement, which is designed to promote public-private partnership in road development, had been signed following your approval. Covered under this agreement are the St. Paul Bridge to Bow Waterside, Medina to Robertsport, and Medicoma to Nyuma corridors. Construction of this project is scheduled to begin next month with a groundbreaking ceremony. Urban improvement on alleyways, drainages, and lighting in communities such as Cinco, Byton, and Carwell, the Japan Freeway, and Marshall are ongoing, improving access and security for communities. Work on the overpass on the Tubman Boulevard has commenced and are set for completion by 2027. The rural areas, 411 kilometers rural roads and 122 kilometers urban roads, have been paved since the administration began. Looking ahead, the goal is to surpass 485 kilometers of paved road by 2029, strengthening national unity. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, electricity is a critical enabler for industrialization and other critical development programs. In 2025, the government, through the Liberia Electricity Corporation, focused on stabilizing this energy sector and expanding access as part of the ARREST agenda and our National Energy Compact. Over 83,000 new connections were established, covering communities in Montserrat and electrify 124 villages in Grand Bassa, Riverset, Bone, and Nimba. Through these initiatives, 17,000 households have access to power for their first time. Electricity tariffs have been cut to ease household costs, positioning energy as a driver for growth. Through the Rural and Renewable Energy Agency, we use solar power to provide electricity for 88 clinics across 14 counties and rural regions. Harper, Barclayville, Caribbean, Zozo cities have each benefited with 173 streetlights as part of the lighting of rural communities. We have installed 3,791 streetlights through the CLSG Rural Electrification Program, benefiting over 124 towns and villages in Nyuma, Grand Basin, Riverside, and Bon counties. The program also provided electricity to 2 universities, ABC and Cottington, 2 hospitals, Riverside District and Mother of Light Rehab, and is strengthening the cross-border grid in Nyuma, Bon, and Margibi counties. Mount Coffee Hydro Power remained reliable. Outages decreased. Electricity sales rose by 24%. Revenue topped $71 million, and collection efficiency reached 94%. Further investment in reforms of LEC will aim at addressing inefficiencies, stabilizing the utility, and ensuring reliable services. In 2026, we plan to have 100,000 new connections, deploy advanced transmission lines and smart meters, reduce system losses by 35%, with more improvements ahead. Major projects underway include 250 megawatt gas to power plant, the 200 megawatt solar plant and storage, and a new hydropower project on the St. John River alongside existing solar, thermal, and hydropower capacity totaling 700 megawatts. Through our digital initiative, we created a new ICT strategic action plan to modernize the national telecom framework and half of the government agencies have transitioned to unified ICT system. By November 2025, 56% of these entities had fiber optic networks installed, and 80% of the critical ICT infrastructure was secured with cyber security measures. Digital finance advanced with mobile money use rising from 46% to 58% in 2025. The central bank launched the inclusive instant payment system, enabling real-time transactions and cross-border payments across Africa. Mobile network coverage expanded into underserved areas, improving access and participation in digital economy. The National Port Authority remains a critical gateway to Liberia's economy. Following my visit to Morocco last November, the Moroccan Port Development Entity agreed to invest in equipment and logistics for the Port of Monrovia, breaking a long-standing monopoly and boosting competition. Master plan for the Port of Monrovia and Buchanan have been developed. Tariff reforms are driving revenue growth. Further upgrades will include dredging the Port of Monrovia for larger ships, easing congestion, reducing costs, and introducing 24-hour operation. Rabat International Airport, significant upgrades were completed, including the reopening of taxiway Bravo, rehabilitation of the apron and the jet bridge, and installation of a new navigational aids. These improvements were finalized ahead of the Turkish Airlines inaugural flight on May 11, 2026, representing a major advancement for the Liberian aviation. Additional, an agreement had been assured with a South Korea-made group to develop a ship recycling center and establish private-public partnership domestic airline in Liberia with an initial fleet of 3 aircraft. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, public transport is a vital service that every Liberian deserves. The National Transport Authority had long faced neglect with deteriorated infrastructure and unchecked corruption. We are changing that. Last year, we procured 64 buses, now deployed and serving Liberians nationwide. We also broke ground for a modern NTA headquarters, a step that will enhance service delivery and transform public transportation in our country. Since 1948, Liberia's maritime program has been central to our economy and global standing, featuring the world's largest open ship registry and skilled mariners. Recent modernization initiatives in the sector include domestic watercraft monitoring program with AIS, the first in decades, and vessel monitoring system technology for enhanced safety. Also, our re-election to the International Maritime Organization Category A reaffirmed Liberia's leadership in maritime governance. Education is fundamental to Liberia's renewal and growth in human capital. In furtherance of the unified data-driven reform adopted in 2024, access to quality learning for all children has been guaranteed. Teachers' dignity was restored by removing over 1,000 good names from the payroll. Consequently, over 2,000 qualified volunteer teachers were hired across all counties. Through the 88.7 million Excel project supported by the World Bank and the Global Partnership for Education, we prioritize literacy and numeracy from grades 1 to 3, ensuring basic skills at the 3rd grade. Our national digital learning platform now reaches remote villages with multimedia lessons, including sign language support. Also, 156 schools have been equipped with computer labs, and nearly 300 teachers have received technology training. Still under education, we improved the learning environment by supplying over 26,000 desks and chairs through the One Child, One Chair initiative. We also invested in building model schools in Bonk, Margibi, Nyuma counties, in addition to renovating 40 schools and distributing 22,000 STEM kits. Through partnership with Tuskegee University and Booker Washington Institute, young Liberians will have the opportunity to further technical training in a host of vocations. Our national school feeding programs supported more than 239,000 students. Transparency and governance improved with the annual school census covering 6,394 schools after a 4-year pause. The launch of a digital school pyramid platform and expanded scholarship with local recipients increasing from 378 to 1,000, while all arrears for 210 students abroad were settled. Funds were also allocated to renovate the University of Liberia and public schools to address congestion and improve facilities. To further demonstrate our commitment to education, funds were provided for the renovation of the University of Liberia and several public schools across the country. This intervention will address the long-standing post-Civil War problem of congestion. Last year, the health sector saw significant improvement. Maternal death dropped nationwide. Immunization coverage for children under 1 reached 88%, and medicine stock out decreased from 95 to 5%. We thank Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, for strengthening Liberia's immunization program. With their support, Liberia has expanded vaccine access and improved public health while meeting all co-financing commitments for the first time in 10 years. We recorded significant progress in addressing infrastructure constraints confronting the health sector. Reconstruction work on the C.H. Rennie facility in Margibi County is underway at a new Kakita location, where it will now include a midwifery school. Construction work on the neuropsychiatric hospital in Bensonville is now 75%, while work on the regional diagnostic center in Bond County is 85%. To support the continued delivery of quality services in the sector, a new midwifery training program has been initiated at Bumming Community College and budget allocated for a smooth operation of the ERWA hospital. Data is vital for planning and response. So the government set up a National Health Intelligence Center to improve data-driven decision-making. The system has demonstrated effectiveness, as recent data indicate that tuberculosis notification rose by 7.5% over the past year, while incident and mortality decreased by 28% and 49% respectively. Our efforts against drug abuse intensified with the launch of the Liberia First National Anti-Drug Plan, providing strategic roadmap to reduce both demand and supply of illicit drugs. By close of the year, over 800 at-risk youth were enrolled in recovery programs. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, poor sanitation and limited access to clean water have long threatened public health, especially in urban areas like Monrovia, where 42% of the citizens lack basic sanitation facilities. In 2025, we completed the Buffalo water system, commenced new water supply projects in Greenville and Plebo, and began the rehabilitation and expansion of the Shredru water supply system. These projects are set to benefit over 43,000 persons. The 48-inch wide plane to Monrovia pipeline project is nearing its first phase of completion. Plans are underway for the remainder of the project, which is expected to benefit over 1 million residents in Montserrat County. Years of conflict left many Liberians vulnerable. In response, the government expanded social protection program to ensure fair opportunity for all citizens. In 2025, the Save the Future project integrated more than 8,000 street children into safe environments and enrolled over 2,700 out-of-school children. Over the past few years, around 13,500 children were reunited with their families. About 4,000 of these have returned to school, while over 3,700 caregivers gained support through grant training and family programs. Thanks to the philanthropic support, we have received 5 containers filled with various materials such as clothing, shoes for children. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection is collaborating with the Ministry of Education to make sure these items are delivered to school-age children across the country. Under the Realize project, the government provided income support through cash transfers to over 15,000 poor households, delivering over $1 billion Liberian dollars to help them cover basic household needs. The Liberia Women Empowerment Project also reached 3,300 women with income support, and is expanding to benefit over 32,000 more women across several counties. These efforts promote economic opportunities and household welfare. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, fellow Liberians, young people who make up over half of the population are Liberia's greatest asset. This year, we advanced youth deployment by launching the National Youth Policy 2025 to 2030 and the Youth Peace and Security Action Plan. We increased job, skill building, and livelihood opportunities for vulnerable youth and women. Through the Realize project, more than 15,000 young people received support for income generation and training, and over 1,400 youth completed technical and vocational programs. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, ladies and gentlemen, sports unite people and foster discipline, teamwork, and national pride. To support this, the government and the Bee Mountain Mining Corporation are launching football academies in both Bon and Montserrat counties, creating direct routes to national teams and encouraging professionalism and growth in Liberia's sports sector. We prioritize at-risk youth with drug prevention and rehabilitation, and upgraded the Youth Agriculture Training Center. Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, providing adequate housing remains a priority. Many Liberians live in overcrowded, insecure conditions. To address this, the National Housing Authority will begin building 600 social housing units across 6 counties in February this year. Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, Liberia's long-standing governance challenges have contributed to the weakening to weakening our institutions and decline in public trust. My administration is committed to restoring confidence through the strengthening integrity, accountability, and transparency. A step in this direction is a requirement for heads of institutions to sign performance contracts and comply clearly with defined standards under our new established performance management and compliance system. Working with the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, we secured 11 indictments, obtained 2 convictions, and had 1 acquittal. 4 prosecutions are ongoing. Meanwhile, we enforce administrative measures by suspending or dismissing officials involved in misconduct. Additionally, we have strengthened asset declaration rules and introduced ethics textbook in schools. The General Auditing Commission made major strides, completing 94 out of 105 audits. This includes the domestic debt audit from 2018 to 2023, which rejected over 704 million US in unsupported claims. For this first time, a system audit of the House of Representatives for 2021 to 2024 was conducted with a report expected in March 2026. Compliance with audit recommendation rose from 13% in 2024 to 37% in 2025. And we keep working with the legislature to ensure the General Auditing Commission can fully carry out its constitutional duty to protect public interest. My government is advancing legal reforms to make e-procurement the standard and to promote fair, inclusive participation. In 2025, the Public Procurement and Concession Commission moved Liberia's procurement system forward by expanding electronic procurement and strengthening oversight in over 50 public entities. These steps with tightened controls, reduce waste, and support the arrest agenda for inclusive development. In 2025, justice and security were strengthening by expanding access to justice, improving criminal prosecution, and upgrading correctional and judicial facilities. Logistical support to key law enforcement agencies was enhanced. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency seized nearly 10 metric tons of illicit drugs and arrested over 550 suspects, while the immigration sector enhanced border security and migration process. The Liberia National Fire Service boosted emergency response with more than 10 new fire engines and over firefighting equipment. These initiatives have increased public trust in the justice and security system compared to pre-2024 levels. To address congestion at the Edward Kesali military barracks, we renovated the Camp Jones military barracks in Margibi and Camp Grant military barracks in Nyuma County. This has accommodated the relocation of over 600 soldiers, improving living conditions for our military families. During the year under review, we made significant progress in improving civil service. We placed more than 3,400 long-serving volunteers in education and health onto the national payroll. To boost morale and productivity, we increased the salaries for over 23,000 frontline workers in health, education, security, and agriculture. We are also strengthening the system for the future. Merit-based hiring is being reinforced through a new civil service testing center, and staff welfare is improving through automated legal services. Finally, we are committed to investing in our employees by offering a 50% salary advance option, expanding long-term loan program, and providing additional training opportunities both at home and abroad. My administration strengthening protection by enforcing key environmental biodiversity laws, updating climate commitments, improving access to climate finance, including the establishment of the Climate Carbon Market Authority. Additionally, we took steps to further conserve our treasured flora and fauna by initiating the process of clearing the Sapo National Park of intruders to open it for tourism and attractions. We also established a modern environmental laboratory, ratified the biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction agreement, and decentralized environmental governance. Liberia remains committed to responsible stewardship, ensuring that environmental protection, economic growth, and prosperity advance together for this generation and the next. Honorable members of the legislature, land governance remains a persistent challenge that affects livelihood, food security, culture, the economy, development, and climate change. Poor management has led to land grabs, dispute, and social conflict. In 2024, we imposed a moratorium on the public land sales to prevent speculative land grabs. It was lifted only after establishing clear guidelines and a standardized national deeding system in 2025. These measures now ensure full land allocation is fair, transparent, and accountable. In 2025, the government continued decentralization effort by deploying counter-service center coordinators across all 15 counties and serving over 32,000 citizens and boosting local revenue generation. County development planning units and treasury assessment strengthening fiscal management. A comprehensive review led to the reclassification of cities based on legal criteria. To promote participatory governance, more than 1,800 traditional leaders were appointed, and the National Assembly of Chiefs was convened in 2025 in Bangan, Bong County, in November 2025. Lastly, the government was advanced institutional reform by passing the act establishing the Ministry of Local Government, a major effort in advancing decentralization. To bring services closer to citizens, passport centers were opened in Granjire and Bong counties, making it easier for people to access identification documents locally. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, my foreign policy is guided by a firm commitment to international systems grounded in the United Nations multilateralism and international law. I believe these are vital for global cooperation and peaceful conflict resolution. In 2025, we worked to restore Liberia's international credibility and reestablish it as a respected member of the global community. Our foreign policy now prioritizes national interest, integrity, and resolve, focusing on tangible benefits to Liberia and strengthening our country's standing. Liberia's election to a non-permanent United Nations Security Council seat for 2026-2027, with 181 out of 193 votes in the General Assembly vote, demonstrate renewed global confidence in our leadership. This historic achievement raises Liberia's profile and enables us to contribute to international peace with emphasis on women, youth, climate, stability in our region. Liberia continues to play leading roles in ECOWAS, the Mano River Union, and African Union. We have also deepened our bilateral relations with the United States of America, evidenced by extending B1, B2 visa validity for Liberians from 12 to 36 months and launching a $124 million health partnership. In the past year, Liberia strengthened ties with France, Serbia, Morocco, China, Barbados, Bahamas, UAE, Rwanda, Mano River Union, ECOWAS, African Union, and European Union. Economic diplomacy is now a clear priority. We are shifting from aid dependent to trade and investment. We have engaged over 50 foreign and diaspora investors in priority sectors, agriculture, energy, and infrastructure. Honorable members of the legislature, Liberia's progress in 2025 reflects renewed international credibility. As we take our seat on the UN Security Council and strengthen regional leadership, this administration will pursue a foreign policy that promotes peace, prosperity, inclusion, and national pride. Liberia is also set to strengthen its global standing by hosting international meetings. To this end, we have undertaken the construction of the Mano River Union Presidential Center for Regional Peace Development in Foya, Lupa County. The facility is fully owned by the Liberian government and includes a 500-seat conference hall and secure accommodation villas for visiting dignitaries. We are also pleased to acknowledge the invaluable contribution of the Angie Brooks Women's Center Situation Room in the promotion of peace and democracy. It is also commendable that the United Nations Security Council has recognized them as an exemplary mechanism for monitoring potential hotspots, incidents involving violence, harassment, and intimidation. The Mano River Union Presidential Center will serve as a significant resource for their efforts in the future. Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, the Liberian diaspora is not just our family abroad. They're a vital national asset, bringing skills, capital, and pride to Liberia's development. In 2024, we pledged to strengthen diaspora engagement, and I am pleased to report real progress. The inaugural Liberia Diaspora Conference in Washington, D.C. led to clear recommendations, including the establishment of a diaspora commission. We will soon bring this proposal to the legislature. Across the country, diaspora entrepreneurs and professionals are returning to invest in infrastructure, agriculture, health, education, and technology. Many are also building homes and launching new enterprises. We recognize these efforts through the Year of Return program. I must also stress that we are appalled by the distressing losses suffered by members of the diaspora community in various housing projects, including the Millennium Estate housing project. We will continue to work with all parties to ensure justice for those impacted. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, a nation that refuses to reconcile hinders its own progress and remains bound to the weight of the past. As such, reconciliation is essential for our growth as the nation's progress in healing and growth for future generations. My administration has taken meaningful steps, including implementing Truth and Reconciliation Commission recommendations. Last year, we reburied former President William R. Tolbert Jr. and Samuel K. Doe Sr. with dignity and respect, and we formally apologize on behalf of the Liberian state for its role in the conflict. These actions were necessary steps towards healing, acknowledgement, and national closure. We are considering Reconciliation Commission and have established the Office of the War and Economic Crimes Court, which has completed draft laws for your review. Reconciliation, however, does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean abandoning justice. True reconciliation must include justice to ensure lasting peace for Liberia. Mr. Speaker and members of the legislature, in my address to the Nyuma body last year, I extended a hand across the political divide to call on compatriots in the opposition and others to join us in building an inclusive government. Today, I want to renew that call. During the year in review, the nation mourned the loss of several prominent citizens. Among these were Judge Lavinia V. Ashtompton, former probate court judge, former dean of the Louis Otto Grant School of Law, Honorable Dr. Emilia Angeline Hope Ward, former Minister of Planning and Economic Affairs, Nyuma County Senator Prince Yomi Johnson, Honorable Joy Musu Freeman Sumo, former Senior Senator from Montserrat, Honorable Ambassador James T. Toplin, former Liberian Ambassador, Federal Republic of Nigeria, former Ambassador to the Republic of Benin and Republic of Togo. Honorable Dr. El Mohamed Sharif, former Vice Chair of the Council of State, Liberia National Transition Government, Madam Nancy Bondo, former First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Sylvester M. Grigsby, former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs and Chief of Staff to the President, Republic of Liberia, Professor Florence Serena Blyden, former Professor, University of Liberia, and a host of others. A fuller list will be published. Mr. Vice President, Madam First Lady, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tem, and members of the legislation, Mr. Chief Justice, Associate Justices, and members of the Judiciary, Madam Dean, and members of the Cabinet. In conclusion, I invite us to pause for a final moment of truth, guided always by supreme interests of our country. Beyond the progress we celebrate today, there remain unresolved matters that continue to weigh on the national conscience, affect our dignity, and demand decisive action. Accordingly, I will take the following steps without delay. First, I will ensure that we continue to comprehensively review our concession framework to correct historic inequities in the extraction and management of our national wealth, and to ensure that Liberia and its people receive fair and lasting benefits. Second, I will take immediate action to resolve the long-standing issue of relocating Palm Grove Cemetery, where the remains of our former president and 100%. This is a matter of national honor, historical responsibility, respect for those who served our republic. Third, I will act to rehabilitate the decaying public buildings in Monrovia and across the country, restoring dignity to public service, safeguarding national assets for future generations. Fourth, I will initiate the process of laying out the major cities throughout Liberia, consistent with recent decentralization initiatives and in accordance with the newly enacted zoning law of Liberia. Fellow Liberians, we began the journey together with a firm belief that Liberia's potentials are unlimited. That belief remains unshaken. Over the past year, we have deliberately built on the progress already made, strengthening confidence and restoring hope that the promise of the nation can indeed be unlocked for the benefit of all. After another year of service, we can say with confidence that the state of the nation is stronger than we last stood here. The gains we have recorded are not an end in themselves. They are foundation and clear proof that purposeful leadership anchored in service can deliver results. These achievements affirm our belief that Liberia's best days are ahead of us. Yet, we must not become complacent. As we deepen the implementation of the arrest agenda for inclusive development this year and beyond, we move forward with resolve, courage, clarity of purpose. We are guided by a simple but enduring truth. Leadership is not defined by titles or privilege, but by humility, fidelity to our oath, and honor to the Republic. We are here to serve the Liberian people, not to serve ourselves. If our purpose strays from service, disappointment will follow, and the truth will be unavoidable that we belong elsewhere. Service is the measure of leadership. We stand today at a defining moment between our past and our future. The choices we make now will determine whether we advance or fall behind, whether we honor or betray the hopes entrusted to us. Let us therefore commit together with one heart to move forward and not backward, mindful that what we do today will shape the Liberia of tomorrow. Let us govern, legislate, and judge in the supreme interest of the Liberian people, knowing that history will render its verdict on whether we rose to the moment or changed the course of our nation for better. With faith in God, confidence in our people, and love for country, I ask all of us to think Liberia, love Liberia, get up this. God bless us
One, two. Well, folks, that's it. You listen to His Excellency, the President of Liberia, after so much anticipation. After so much anticipation, His Excellency, have responded, and you listen to the address here at the grounds of the capital after 1 hour 27 minutes. He explained to Liberians in detail as it relates to what the government has achieved, what are some of the challenges the government is confronted with, and where the country stands at the moment. But to just run you through a few highlights as to what are some of the things he highlighted. There are several other things he highlighted as president.
Having exhausted the purpose for which we are gathered here today, the presiding will entertain a motion to dissolve this joint legislative session for today. I hereby recognize Senator Nyuma Jr. of Nyuma County to make the motion. Senator, the motion is yours.
Mr. Speaker and Presiding Officer, Mr. President and Vice President of the Senate, Mr. Vice President and President of the Senate, Madam Pro Tem of the Liberian Senate, Honorable Deputy Speaker and distinguished members of the 55th Legislature, having satisfied the requirements of Chapter 6, Article 58 of the 1986 Constitution that requires this legislature or the legislature to convene in a joint session for the purpose of receiving the President's annual message, I move, if I can obtain a second, that this joint legislative session of the 55th legislature adjourn.
The presiding will hereby recognize the Right Honorable Ellen Ator Rand of Electoral District Number 3, Magibi County, to acknowledge the motion and second it.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Pro Tempore, Honorable Vice President, Honorable Deputy Speaker, distinguished members of the 55th Legislature. Having listened to the motion proffered by the Senator Yan D. Twine from Nyuma County, I, Honorable Ellen Amaka Ature, from District Number 3, Magibi County, do hereby second the motion for adjournment.
Thank you. Distinguished and esteemed honorable member, it has been moved and seconded that having exhausted the purpose for which the legislature convened in a joint legislative session, the legislative session is hereby adjourned and is hereby so ordered.
When people stand there, you should let Honorable yesterday get kind of run away and let it draw that. You know when money kind of you done that? I was doing all that. Jerry!
Those with invitations, we ask that you kindly have your seats as we prepare for His Excellency to attend the reception.
So, thank you for rejoining us. It has been a wonderful time here on the grounds of the capital. What we all anticipated.
We ask everyone to kindly go up to the garden for the reception. Go to the reception first. We have different food stations.
To give you a rundown, President Boakai concluded his annual address with a strong statement
Officers kindly usher members of the diplomatic corps for the
after another year
reception.
of service, we can say with confidence that the state of our nation is stronger than when we last stood here. The gains we have recorded are not an end in themselves. They are a foundation and clear proof that purposeful leadership accord in service can deliver results. These achievements affirm our belief that Liberia's best days are ahead of us. Yet, we must not become complacent. As we deepen the implementation of the government arrest agenda for inclusive development this year and beyond, we move forward with resolve, courage, and clarity of purpose. We are guided by a simple but enduring trust. Leadership is not defined by titles or privilege, but by humanity. So that was how President Boakai, drew Liberians' attention after he highlighted major gains by the government. He also announced the arrival of the air-moving equipment to Liberia. These are issues. These are things President Boakai promised to help widen, to help open major corridors from major cities to connect, to help lessen the stress of farmers and other Liberians who will be finding it difficult to make their way through to the main capital. Well, the debate is now open. If we can say whether the president was able to meet up with others' expectation as it relates to what the government has achieved. What are some of the challenges, despite all of the gains, what are some of the challenges the government has been confronted with? So at this point, we are seeing some opposition leaders.
We ask those with invitation cards for the reception kindly go over to the garden.
And we spoke with the majority of them.
The cabinet, members of the diplomatic corps.
If you listen to the president, there are a lot of things in his speech to be excited about. It is about time to further research things that have been said. It's about time, folks analyze what the president you've said to, Liberians, not just in Liberia, but those in the diaspora. Because whatever, was said here today will benefit not just those within Liberia, but those, from the diaspora. Up on the podium, we're seeing the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Thomas Fala, along with the Speaker, Honorable Richard Nambwekun. And other lawmakers, they are all here. They were here to grace the occasion. Some, they are having chats. And while other, they're trying to engage with a few others. The atmosphere here is exciting. It is overwhelming. As Liberians, they've come together to listen to their leader. As it is constitutional, the president of Liberia has completed what Article 86, sorry, Article 58 of the 1986 Constitution, as it mandates the president to annually address the nation, as we all call it, the SONA, the State of the Nation Address. To update citizens about what the government have been able to achieve, what challenges the administration is faced with, and where the country stands at the moment. During President Boakai address, he highlighted Liberia's external sector performed well in 2025. The gross international reserves increased from 475 million in 2024 to 576 million, surpassing the previous year by US 101 million. So that's a wonderful increase. That's a wonderful, improvement there. And His Excellency, he also talked about the arrival of earth-moving equipment, as it was promised by the government to help with road connectivity. Speak to the nation for about 1 hour 30 minutes. He had so much to present to his people. He had so much to, explain, to say to Liberians. And I can simply tell you that there are a lot of Liberians who are excited about what they've heard from the president's annual message. There are a lot of takeaways. Now the analysis is about to be done. Those who usually, go on with the fact check, they're about to fact check what are some of the things the president has said, and to know whether they are accurate. But I can simply tell you that they are all 100% accurate.
Thank you.